Hello and welcome to Nature Days Outdoor Learning Resources, sponsored by the Gower Society. Now today is a great day for worm charming. So you're going to try and see how many worms you can get to come out of the ground. If it's raining, it's a really good day to do that. But we're going to not forget the scientific method. So you're going to set up 3 sample sizes in your grass and you're going to see which of those areas is going to produce the most worms. So choose your sample size. It could be as simple as striding, 3 strides. So between my legs and then the other way, between my legs, then the other way. So that is my square, my sample size. Then inside that square, we're going to count how many worms we can see in a set time. Now, you need a control one. So that's going to be the one with the rain hitting it. So the rain's going to hit on it. And if you leave it for 5 minutes, come back, search through your square and count how many worms you can see. Then you're going to try and experiment to try and get more worms up. Now, worm charming is a real thing. And there's a lot of theories as to how to get more worms to come up to the surface. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to pretend to be the rain and see if you can be better than the rain at getting the worms to come to the surface. So you could use things like rakes or a fork. You could tap it against the ground like this in your square. Do that for your 5 minutes. And then measure how many worms you've got there and see if you do more than the rain does. There's also a theory that you can sing the worms up. So why don't you have a go at singing for 5 minutes on top of your square and then count how many worms you get. There's also another theory that you can dance your worms up. So in your square, do a little bit of dancing for 5 minutes, then count how many worms there are. Now, if you want to have a proper control, if you can find a square inside your garden which hasn't got any rain, so it's under a bush or something, you could see if that one's got less worms. And in fact, the rain has had an impact on the number of worms coming up to the surface. So I'd love to see how you do your experimenting, how your worm charming goes, and whether you succeed in finding the best method to actually get the most worms to come up to the surface. Now, you know, the experts in these are actually the birds. And if it's a rainy day, you can do this from the window if you don't want to come out. It's a great day to watch the birds and see what they do. And if you see them, especially seagulls or any of your garden birds, watch them on the lawn and you'll see they'll tap their feet and they do a little dance. And they do that to get the worms to come up. So it is true that they actually do that. So why don't you have a go? See if you can collect more worms from dancing or from using the fork, or is it the rain that's better at bringing up the worms? After you've generated some data, you could create a bar graph on J2 Launch. And then you can see really easily using your graph, you can see which one was the most effective at charming the worms. And I'd love to see what you find out. We can see if it's the same for other people in the Nature Days community. So please share any graphs that you create or any films of you dancing your worms up. So good worm charming, and I hope you are successful.